Alrighty boys, we are back with another hero breakdown video. Um, I wanted to do this because I have a soft spot for this particular portal, and that is the Ninja Tower portal. And the reason why I have a soft spot about it is because in the initial stages, I really liked Cobalt. I really liked Onyx, and they were the first two legendary ninja heroes that I actually had. And other than that, there was all the ninjas were one of the first few heroes that had unique sort of like a unique special skill to them, that it was like charge 1, charge 2 and charge 3 before it started getting a bit diluted when they introduced the magic tower, the Nyx tower heroes, and then I think even the Untold Tales heroes were also something similar to their charge in terms of like charging special skills sort of thing. So we have now the new and updated ninja portal, and they finally introduced Tametomo as well inside it. Tametomo was one of the heroes that was not featured in any tower before this, any ninja tower before this, and instead the first time he was actually featured was in a Black Friday summons, before eventually making him featured in some of the Covenant summons as well as other unique summon portals. But they also have 4 new ninjas here, and I'm going to go through all 4 of them just to see what they're all about. And before anything, you can see from the stats that you can see here, the stats are unbelievably crazy. So let's look at the first one, Iga. Iga is a 5-star yellow cleric ninja. So now all the ninjas, and let me see if it's just the new ninjas or does it apply to the old ninjas. No, it's only for the new ninjas, which is really bad. So they have what we call resist negative minion effects, which means they do not get any negative ailments that are coming or effects. I'm not sure negative effects means, like for example, if they don't get the mana cut from water pipe, or they resist the stealing effect from Diao Chan's minions. I'm not sure. Will have to be tested. But it's basically minions can't damage them. So I think that would mean that if the minions can't damage them, they can't receive those mana cuts or their buff stealing. Maybe that's how they wanted it worded. But if that is the case, that means we might see a whole new range of meta coming up where they are basically immune to all these minion damages from Diao Chan, from water pipe, from all of those things, but still not immune to counterattacks from Zhuge Liang's minions. And maybe I think at this point of time they are resilient to Cao Cao's minions not dispelling their buffs, I think. So who's to say, but I'm a bit disappointed that it's only for the new ninjas and not for the old ninjas, because I would have loved to see the old ninjas coming up as well, but I guess we'll never see it. They have changed the ninja family passive though, so now it's bonus for 1, 2 and 3 and not 2, 3, 4 and 5. So bonus for 1, 2 and 3 heroes, 5, 10, 15% chance to dodge normal attacks and special skills, and also 5, 10 and 15% chance to counter attack with 60, 90, 120% of the damage received. So as usual, if you want to mess with the ninjas, they might counter attack as well. So let's look at his special skill here. First, mana charge. So how this mana charge works is basically at very fast speed, and then which is 6 tiles for the first charge, and then second charge with I think with a 11% mana bonus, it is actually 9 tiles, so 3 matches, and then 300% mana, which means you need to use I think 12 tiles, 12 to 13 tiles I think, in order to get the third charge. So first charge, summons a kunai fiend for the target. The fiend damages the enemy with 150% attack every turn. The kunai fiend absorbs healing and disappears when he has absorbed health equal to 45% of its owner's max health. And the kunai fiend explodes after 3 turns, dealing 1850 damage to its target. Wow. So the second charge is to the target and nearby enemies. absorbs health for 50% and then explodes, dealing 2000 damage. Third charge is to all 55% of the owner's max health and 2250 damage to its target. So remember that the kunai fiends explode after 3 turns, which means if they get healed off, then they don't deal this damage. So what you need to pair this, I think, is with something that resists, that forces them to not take as much healing as is required, so that you don't get the fiends off. The aim for this is not the damage from the fiends, but more of the fact that you can deal this much of damage to the target. So this is what makes Iga really strong. So you would want to pair Iga with something like I don't know, any hero that resists, that is able to give a resist like reduce healing kind of buff, a debuff, I mean. So something like it's not Lazara, it's some other hero, but you know, that's the aim of using this kind of hero. You want to put a resist healing and then make sure that the kunai fiends explode. So this is a really interesting, it will change the way you would play this. So fortunately for ninjas, there is a ninja that reduces healing, which is Serendite. So you can use this alongside Serendite to ensure that the kunai fiends explode. Okay, the next one is Tora. Tora is a 5-star ninja ranger purple, so the same resist negative minion effects. So first charge deals 400% damage to the target, deals additional 35% damage for each minion or mega minion owned by the enemies, up to 750% damage in total, and this attack bypasses defensive buffs. Second charge is 425% damage to the target and nearby, up to 775%, and the third charge is 450 up to 800%. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking that, okay, some of these value percentages are not as high as what you would think, remember that these are new heroes with the sword stat being this high. We usually see sword stats around 1005, 1004. So having it at 1007 means that they're actually quite, you know, the number there is quite high. So the value multiplied by the amount of percentage damage reduced by the amount of defense, it still adds up to be really high. Like either one of those values being high means you're dealing quite a bit more damage. So that's always something to consider. And yeah, so this one is more targeted at, you know, basically the War of the Three Kingdoms teams. So if you have like Tora, you can, you know, let Diao Chan fire first, and you have 3 you get 3 minions, so 3 times 35%, 105% added to your 400% damage, so it's 505% damage in total. So 350. So in order for the full effect to apply, it's 10 minions in total, and it's good that the attack bypasses defensive buffs, because if you really want Zhuge Liang to fire, Zhuge Liang obviously needs to have the counter attack up, right? So the attack bypassing defensive buffs, which includes counter attack, means that Tora doesn't die when you just use a special skill. So that's very interesting here, and I think she will be really strong, especially when you pair this right with another hero that deals minimal amounts of like what do you call it, the elemental defense down. So you can do something like having what's the guy's name, the 4-star magic tower hero that I somehow forgot the name. I think it's Sergei. Yeah, Sergei. I think it's Sergei. Yeah, Sergei. So that he doesn't touch the minions, and then you can use this and it deals a crap load of damage. So it's a lot of theory crafting here, because you know, all of these ninjas, if you realize, do not function well on their own, and even if they do, it still requires a lot more help in order to finish up the kill. So like Tora by itself will probably not kill as much as you would like, but if you pair this with something else, say for example you pair it with like double costume Domitia, where her damage right now doesn't scale off to the point where you can kill minions off, you can use double costume Domitia first, and then you use Tora, and that should be able to wipe out you know, at least a side, or if not, cripple it to the point where you can use a third hit tree hero, like for example Hurricane or something like that, in order to finish the job, or maybe even Shacklebolt or some other hit tree, who knows. So yeah, very interesting hero, definitely a strong one. So let's look at the next one. The next one I believe should be Nomad. Okay, I'm just scrolling through because there's a very stupid habit of like going rotating while I'm looking at a card. So Nomad Red Star, Red Star. It's a fire type hero, fighter class, silent takedown. Deals 400% damage to the target at first charge, deals 600% damage to the target that has less than 50% health remaining. Damage bypasses target's minions. If the target is defeated by the attack, all allies get plus 20% mana generation for 2 turns. Second charge is 425% damage to the target and nearby enemies. Deals 638% damage to enemies with less than 50% health remaining. Damage bypasses target's minions. And then if the target is defeated, so note that it's only the target, so you still have to hit, it's only the one that you hit in the middle. If the target is defeated by the attack, all allies get plus 30% mana generation for 3 turns. Third charge, 450% damage to all enemies, 675% damage to enemies with less than 50% health, bypasses target's minions. And if it's defeated by the attack, all allies get plus 40% mana generation for 4 turns. So how do I put this? It's good that you're bypassing the minions, which means you don't have to worry about the fat minion meat shield that they have. But at the same time, you do have to wonder if you need to pair this with a hero that has... you need to pair this hero. I think the best way to pair this is probably with someone like Ray, for example. Either Ray or some other hero that can bypass minions and deal the damage from internally. So like for example the let's see, what other heroes bypasses minions? I don't think they're much. I mean, if you want to pair with someone like, say for example Guan Yu, it's off color, so maybe something that can reduce the minions first. I'm not sure. This one will take some work. I mean, let's face it, usually when you want to deal with these heroes with the minions right now, you're looking at Zhuge Liang, Cao Cao, Diao Chan, and Costume Forces for some. Usually by the time you want to hit them, they probably have a mid shield of minions around them, which means he is the only one. Nomad is the only one that's actually dealing damage directly to the health rather than going through the mid shield of minions. So if you do that, the rest of your team aren't going to follow up with that. So he's probably, I think in most cases, you probably want to whittle down the defense first, and then probably use Nomad. It'll be very interesting to test him out. I think on paper this looks good, but in actual application it might be actually difficult to use, especially when you can't have follow-up damage, because the follow-up damage has to deal with the minions first. So it'll be interesting to see, unless you pair this with, like, I don't know, Costume Gafion, for example, which can't remove minions anyways. So it's gonna be really hard to test this out. I'll need to see what other heroes you can run this with. And then the last one is Chikao, 5-star green monk. So Fatal Dreams, first mana charge, dispels buffs from the enemies on the edges of the enemy formation, deals 300% damage to the enemies on the edges of the formation. If there's only one enemy alive, the damage is doubled. The enemies on the edges of the enemy formation fall asleep and receive 60% increased damage while sleeping. So sleeping, they can't gain mana, they can't attack, and it's waken up once they take damage that is not from minions or fiends, and this effect is uncleansable. So it's all the same, just more damage and more damage taken while you fall asleep, up to 900% damage from the third charge and 100% increased damage. This is probably the weakest ones of all the new ninjas, just because it is so hard to kill the edges first. Like, if you want to do that, you probably have to combine this with let's say maybe Desmond, who's also dealing from the edges. Something like Costume Jabberwock as well would be interesting to pair this with. But the problem with this is that actually it might be interesting if you can run Chikao first. So because most likely what will happen is Diao Chan is going to protect the middle tree, right? So if you want to kill the edges first, and that's usually where they would place their hitters. You deal with the meat shield of healers at the front tree, and then you just worry about the sides. So what you can do is potentially kill the sides first using Chikao and Desmond, for example, Because Desmond's damage will increase once you use Chick Out, because Chick Out is going to put them to sleep at second charge, which is the same tiles required to fire Desmond. So you hit them for 485% damage on the edges, and then you use Desmond to kill, and then you probably have like a sniper, for example, that finishes off the job in case they didn't do the job. So that'll be interesting. And note that if you're using Diao Chan as a tank, they will the sides, the wings will not have the minion mid shield, because she's only giving it 3. So that's interesting. So that will be something to theorycraft as well. You can use something like Chikao and Desmond and then work your way into the middle. Yeah, and when they're asleep, so Chikao makes it such that they are asleep, right? So they take more damage from Desmond, and then Desmond silences them right after that if they're still alive. And then you can have something like Sha Wujing to make sure that your team stays alive. Or you can even do something like have Tametomo, you know? So you can just hit them nice and hard, and then you hit you start chipping away with the damage there. So that's interesting. Okay, so I can see that being a game plan. And yeah, so that's all the 4 new I believe that's all the 4 new ninjas. They finally put in Morganite as well, but I think everybody has at least a Morganite already together with Kinshaishi, so I don't think there's a new 4-star as well. Yeah, there's no new 4-star ninjas, which is pretty sad because I want to have more 4-star ninjas. But then there's also all these old ninjas that are out here, most of which I already have and not wanting to have. Only Wakamaru is one that I really want, but I think right now is a bit dated. So yeah, it's the new ones. So we do have one pool. I'm not sure. So let's do some summon pools. Okay, gonna get nonsense here, and let's do one pool and see what we can get. We can get anything? Nope. Alright, that's probably it. I'm still not sure if I want to spend anything on this, but I might see whether any one of my allies, any one of my alliance members have any of these heroes leveled. I might do a testing video from there, or if I see anyone in the wilds, I might do a raid testing video just to see how well. Now, I don't think ninjas, even with all these ninjas, they will not be good on defense. It's only better if they are good on. Usually it's good on offense. So remains to be seen. Who knows? Maybe I'll pull something once I finish the towers. I don't know, and then we'll see what we can get from there. So to all those who are trying to pull for them, good luck. If you have already got them, congratulations. Let me know what you guys think, and if possible, I would really want to do testing videos on all of them if possible. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. GG.